Windmills built in medieval villages were not merely tools for agricultural production. They are tangible evidence of the knowledge and skill embedded in engineering and material use of the time. Remarkably, some of these windmills have stood for over 600 years and continue to function. This longevity highlights the durability of construction techniques, the careful selection of materials, and maintenance practices. How, then, did medieval villagers manage to construct such enduring structures with limited tools and resources? This question provides crucial insights into both historical engineering practices and the organization of village life. History and role of windmills in medieval villages. The origins of windmills can be traced back to the early medieval period, with the earliest known examples appearing in Europe around the 12th century. Initially, these structures were relatively simple, employing horizontal axis mechanisms to harness the energy of the wind for grinding grain, pumping water, and other mechanical tasks. Over time, innovations in design and construction led to more sophisticated vertical axis and post windmills, capable of maximizing efficiency even in regions with variable wind conditions. In medieval villages, windmills were more than mere agricultural tools. They were vital components of local economies. Grain milling, for instance, was essential for producing bread, the staple food of medieval communities. The presence of a windmill could significantly reduce labor demands compared to hand-grinding methods, allowing villages to sustain larger populations and improve food security. Moreover, windmills served as symbols of technological advancement and communal organization. Their construction required coordination among villagers, skilled craftsmen, and local authorities, reflecting the complexity of rural societies. The placement of a windmill was carefully considered to take advantage of prevailing winds while minimizing disruptions to other agricultural activities. The endurance of some windmills for over 6 centuries raises important questions about the combination of design, materials, and maintenance practices employed by medieval builders. Understanding these factors offers valuable insights not only into historical engineering but also into the societal structures that supported the ongoing function and preservation of these remarkable constructions. Construction techniques and materials used in medieval windmills. Medieval windmills were feats of engineering, combining practical design with careful selection of available materials. Unlike modern machinery, these structures relied entirely on human ingenuity, local resources, and centuries of accumulated knowledge. The construction process was both labor-intensive and highly specialized, requiring collaboration between skilled carpenters, masons, and blacksmiths, often guided by the experience of master millwrights who passed down techniques through generations. Structural design. Most windmills built in medieval Europe fell into 2 main categories: post mills and tower mills. Post mills, the earliest type, were characterized by a large wooden post around which the entire body of the mill could rotate to face the wind. This design allowed for relatively small-scale construction, using primarily timber frames reinforced with wooden braces and iron fittings. The rotational mechanism relied on a carefully balanced central post, wooden bearings, and cogwheel systems, which converted wind energy into mechanical rotation for the millstones. Tower mills, which emerged later, represented an evolution in durability and scale. These mills typically featured cylindrical stone or brick towers with a wooden cap that could rotate independently. This design offered increased stability, protection from harsh weather, and the ability to support larger sails, which in turn allowed for greater milling capacity. The tower structure often included multiple internal floors, providing space for grain storage, milling operations, and maintenance areas. Materials and their longevity. The choice of materials was crucial to the longevity of windmills. Timber was widely used for the framework, sails, and internal mechanisms, with oak and elm being preferred due to their strength and resistance to decay. Stone and brick provided the necessary rigidity and weather resistance for tower mills. Mortar composed of lime and sand helped bind stones together while allowing the structure to breathe, reducing the risk of cracking. Metal components, including iron fittings, nails, and axles, were carefully forged to withstand repetitive stress. Blacksmiths crafted cogwheels, brackets, and pins, ensuring precise alignment that allowed the mill to operate efficiently over decades. The combination of timber flexibility and stone durability created a balance between resilience to mechanical wear and resistance to environmental degradation, which partly explains why some mills have survived for over 600 years. Construction techniques. Building a medieval windmill required meticulous planning and sequential execution. The foundation had to be solid, often involving the excavation of shallow trenches filled with compacted stone or rubble to stabilize the structure. Carpenters prefabricated wooden beams, joints, and braces, many of which were treated with natural oils or resins to prevent rot. Assembling the sails was a particularly challenging task. Each sail was crafted to specific dimensions and angles to maximize wind capture. In post mills, the entire structure had to be rotated manually, a task that demanded both skill and coordination among workers. Tower mills introduced rotating caps with wind shafts and gear assemblies, allowing more precise control of sail orientation without moving the entire structure. Maintenance considerations were integrated into the design from the outset. Accessible internal staircases, trapdoors, and removable panels enabled regular inspections and repairs. Villagers and millwrights routinely applied protective coatings to timber, replaced worn cogs, and adjusted sail alignment, practices that were essential to ensuring the windmill's longevity. Environmental adaptation. Medieval builders also demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of environmental factors. The placement of windmills was strategic, often on elevated terrain or open fields to optimize wind exposure. Orientation was carefully calculated to avoid turbulence caused by surrounding buildings or trees. In regions with harsh winters, stone walls and enclosed mechanisms helped protect the interior from ice and snow, while in wetter climates, roof overhangs and water-resistant coatings reduced moisture damage. In sum, the combination of adaptive design, carefully selected materials, and proactive maintenance practices allowed medieval windmills to achieve remarkable durability. The fact that some of these structures have survived for 6 centuries or more is a testament not only to the technical skill of their builders but also to a deep understanding of local materials, environmental conditions, and sustainable construction practices. Factors contributing to the 600-year longevity of medieval windmills. The survival of some medieval windmills for over 6 centuries is not merely a result of chance. It reflects a complex interplay of design principles, material resilience, environmental adaptation, and community-based maintenance practices. Understanding these factors provides valuable insight into historical engineering methods and highlights the sophisticated approach medieval builders took to ensure both functionality and durability. Engineering principles. One of the primary factors contributing to longevity is the application of fundamental engineering principles. Medieval millwrights employed balanced weight distribution, structural bracing, and mechanical redundancy to reduce wear and tear on critical components. In post mills, the central post and trestle were meticulously calculated to support the rotating body and counteract the forces generated by wind. Tower mills incorporated thick stone walls and internal floors, creating a rigid frame that minimized deformation under stress. The use of cog-wheel gearing systems allowed smooth transmission of energy from the sails to the millstones. These gears were often oversized relative to modern standards, reducing operational strain and allowing gradual wear over centuries rather than rapid failure. Precision in construction was critical. Even minor misalignments could cause excessive friction, resulting in accelerated deterioration. Material durability. The careful selection of materials played a decisive role in ensuring long-term survival. Hardwoods like oak and elm were chosen for their density, resistance to rot, and ability to withstand cyclical stress. These timbers were often treated with natural oils, resins, or tar to enhance durability and protect against moisture and insect damage. Stone and brick, the primary materials for tower mill walls, provided remarkable structural integrity. The lime-based mortar used were flexible enough to accommodate minor settling or thermal expansion without cracking, which preserved the overall cohesion of the structure. Metal components, particularly iron, were forged to withstand repetitive motion and stress, with maintenance routines in place to prevent rusting or fatigue failure. Maintenance practices. Longevity was not achieved solely through construction. Ongoing maintenance was equally critical. Communities recognized that windmills were central to village survival and invested in their upkeep. Regular inspection of sails, gears, and bearings was standard practice, with damaged or worn parts replaced promptly. Wooden surfaces were treated to prevent decay, and stone structures were occasionally repointed to maintain wall integrity. Millwrights also passed down detailed knowledge of repair techniques, allowing successive generations to address mechanical issues without compromising structural stability. This tradition of continuous care ensured that even as technology evolved, the core mechanisms remained functional and safe. Environmental adaptation. Another factor contributing to extended lifespan was environmental adaptation. Mill locations were strategically chosen to maximize wind exposure while minimizing exposure to hazards such as flooding, erosion, or strong storms. Elevated foundations and drainage systems protected the structure from water damage, while overhanging roofs and weatherproof coatings reduced moisture infiltration. In addition, designers considered wind patterns and seasonal variations, orienting sails and caps to take full advantage of prevailing winds. This reduced unnecessary mechanical strain and allowed the mill to operate efficiently for decades, even under changing environmental conditions. Community involvement and cultural significance. Finally, the social context cannot be overlooked. Windmills were not isolated structures. They were integral to village life, serving both economic and symbolic functions. Villagers often contributed labor or resources to repairs, and the presence of a functional mill enhanced communal resilience. The cultural importance of these structures ensured that they were protected, maintained, and respected across generations, further contributing to their survival. Summary: the combination of robust engineering, durable materials, proactive maintenance, environmental adaptation, and strong community involvement explains why some medieval windmills have endured for over 600 years. They stand as remarkable examples of sustainable construction, demonstrating that thoughtful design and stewardship can achieve longevity far beyond what might be expected from simple pre-industrial structures. Maintenance and restoration techniques. Over the centuries, the longevity of medieval windmills cannot be fully understood without examining the maintenance and restoration practices that sustain them across generations. Unlike modern machinery, which can be easily replaced or mass-produced, medieval windmills relied on continual human intervention to address wear, environmental damage, and mechanical failures. The combination of routine care, periodic restoration, and adaptive modifications allowed these structures to remain operational for centuries. Routine maintenance. Routine maintenance was an essential aspect of windmill preservation. Millers and villagers regularly inspected sails, gears, and bearings for signs of wear or damage. Wooden components were checked for rot or insect infestation, while metal parts were examined for cracks, rust, or deformation. This preventive approach minimized the risk of catastrophic failure and ensured smooth operation. Timber surfaces were often treated with natural oils, tar, or resins to repel moisture and pests. Millstones were dressed or reground periodically to maintain efficiency, while cogwheels and axles were lubricated using animal fats or plant-based oils. By combining traditional craftsmanship with practical knowledge, medieval communities were able to extend the operational life of windmills far beyond the typical lifespan of unmaintained wooden structures. Adaptive modifications. Over the centuries, windmills were also adapted to meet changing technological and environmental demands. Some mills received improved gear systems, larger or differently shaped sails, and reinforced supports to accommodate stronger winds or higher milling capacities. These adaptive modifications were carefully integrated to avoid compromising structural integrity. In some regions, windmills underwent modernization during the industrial period, incorporating iron or steel components to enhance durability. Even with these changes, builders maintained traditional design principles, ensuring that the windmills continued to function as originally intended while benefiting from improved materials. Documentation and knowledge transmission. An often overlooked factor in windmill preservation was the transmission of knowledge. Millwrights kept detailed records of construction methods, maintenance schedules, and repair techniques, often passed down orally or through apprenticeships. This continuity of expertise ensured that each generation could address mechanical or structural issues without introducing errors that might compromise longevity. Community engagement. Communities played a crucial role in maintaining windmills. Villagers recognized the economic importance of the mill and frequently contributed labor, materials, or funds for repairs. Communal involvement created a sense of responsibility and stewardship, which was essential for long-term preservation. Case studies. Several European windmills, such as the Post Mills in the Netherlands and the Tower Mills in England, exemplify these maintenance and restoration practices. Many of these mills, despite centuries of use, still retain original components alongside carefully restored sections, demonstrating the effectiveness of these traditional techniques. Summary: the combination of routine maintenance, periodic restoration, adaptive modification, knowledge transmission, and community engagement ensured that medieval windmills could survive for over 600 years. These practices reveal not only the technical skill of their builders but also the social and cultural mechanisms that supported sustainable infrastructure in pre-industrial societies.